Hey, this is Colin Wayne. This is going to be my video, me going over the origin insertion points found on the femur and the hip bone. So the first bone that I'm going to start on, I'm going to start on the femur. And more importantly, we're going to be looking at the lateral aspect of the femur. And the reason that we can tell that this is the lateral aspect of the femur is that we can see the whole greater trochanter right here is completely visible. Along with that, we can tell that the head is actually behind the greater trochanter, which helps us to believe that this is the lateral aspect of the femur. Now moving on to muscles that are found here, there's going to be several muscles that actually insert onto the greater trochanter of the femur, which is found right here. So I'm going to start with this one up here, the insertion point, more of the superior upper portion of the greater trochanter. And the muscle that's going to insert right here is going to be the piriformis muscle. Going off of that, there's going to be another insertion point right here. And the muscle that inserts onto here is going to be the gluteus medius muscle. Moving over here, there's another insertion point, which is going to be the insertion point for the gluteus minimus muscle. Moving down from that, more towards like the shaft or the diaphysis of the bone, we actually have the origin point for a muscle. And this is going to be a vasti muscle. And to help you kind of distinguish which muscle, you can tell which vasti muscle this is going to be, since it's going to be on the lateral aspect of the femur, we're going to know that this is going to be the vastus lateralis muscle. So this is going to be the origin point of the vastus lateralis muscle. It's also kind of in an L shape as well. So going off that, we got another origin point found right here, which is the origin point of another vasti muscle. And the vasti muscle that originates right here is going to be the vastus intermedius muscle. Going off of that and moving towards the anterior aspect of the femur. So we're going to flip the femur going around. We're going to flip the femur around and go on the anterior aspect. There's also a lot of origin insertion points found on here as well. And the reason that we can tell that this is going to be the anterior aspect of the femur is that there's a lot of features on here that are not found anywhere else if you're looking at the femur. So for instance, you can completely see the greater trochanter as well as the lesser trochanter of the femur. You can also see like certain aspects like the linea aspera right here, as well as like the gluteal tuberosity. So there's just a bunch of different features that you can see here, but can't see anywhere else on the femur. So starting off with the muscles that insert and originate on here, we're going to start up here again, once again on the greater trochanter of the femur. And you can kind of see that that insertion point for the gluteus medius kind of sticking out right here. So that's going to be the insertion point right here for the gluteus medius. Going down from that, we're going to have the gluteal tuberosity right here, and this is actually going to be a muscle that inserts on the gluteal tuberosity. And the muscle that inserts onto here is going to be the gluteus maximus muscle. Going off of that, there's going to be an origin point for one of the vasti muscles again. And once again, since it's going to be on the lateral aspect of the femur, because we tell the greater trochanter right here, so we're going to know that this is going to be the origin point for the vastus lateralis muscle. Going up from that and going on the lesser trochanter of the femur, there's actually going to be an insertion point for muscle found on here. And the muscle that inserts onto the lesser trochanter of the femur is going to be the iliopsoas muscle. Going off of that and moving down, we have another insertion point right here found on the linea aspera of the femur. And the muscle that inserts onto here is going to be the adductor magnus muscle. Going down from that, we got another insertion point right here, more towards like the medial aspect, but still towards like the front or the anterior aspect of the femur. This is going to be the insertion point for the pectineus muscle. Going down from that, we got another insertion point for the adductor muscles. Once again, more on that linea aspera side, or more towards like more towards the anterior aspect or shaft of the femur. So this is going to be the adductor brevis muscle, or the insertion point for the adductor brevis muscle. And the reason that we can tell that this is going to be insertion for the adductor brevis is if you're looking at the adductor brevis, it's going to be the smallest of the adductor muscles. So moving off of that and moving down, we actually have an origin point right here, which is found more on the medial aspect of the femur. So once again, this is going to be a vasti muscle. And since we know that it's going to be on the medial aspect of the femur, we're going to know this is going to be the vastus medialis muscle. Going down from there, we got another insertion point, which is close to the other adductor muscle. So we know this is going to be another, the insertion point for another adductor muscle. And the last one that's left is going to be the adductor longus muscle. And the reason, once again, you can tell that it's going to be an insertion point for the adductor longus muscle is that the adductor longus muscle is longer than all the other adductor muscles. Going down from that, more again towards that lateral aspect, there's going to be an origin point for muscle right here. And the muscle that's going to originate right here is going to be the shorehead of the biceps femoris. Going off of that, we're now going to move on to the os coxae, or the hip bone, as well as the muscles that originate on here. There's not going to be any muscles that insert on the os coxae. These are all going to be origin points. And more importantly, which aspect we're going to be looking at the os coxae, we're going to know that this is going to be the lateral side or lateral aspect of the os coxae or hip bone. And the reason you can tell for that is you can see the whole acetabulum is visible right here. So the acetabulum is visible, we can tell that we're on the lateral side of the os coxae. So moving down towards here, we're going to be starting the ischium. More importantly, this is going to be the ischial tuberosity. There's a lot of muscles that are found originating off the ischial tuberosity. So starting with this origin point right here, this is going to be the origin point for the semimembranosus muscle. Moving up from that, we got another origin point right here, and this is going to be the origin point for the semitendinosus muscle, as well as the long head of the biceps femoris muscle. Going off of that, it kind of starts on the tubule or the ischial tuberosity, but kind of more goes down the ischium towards the pubis. This is going to be origin point right here. And the muscle that originates right here is going to be the adductor magnus muscle. Going down from that, more towards the inferior ramus of the pubis, we got another origin point right here. And this is going to be the origin point for the gracilis muscle. And moving up from that, we got another origin point right here. And this is going to be the origin point for the adductor brevis muscle. Moving more towards the pubic symphysis from that, and in between right here, there's going to be a muscle that's found within the adductor canal. And this is actually going to be the origin point for your adductor longus muscle right here. So going off of that, since we covered the ischium and the pubis, we're going to now be moving on to the ilium. And once again, you can tell that this is going to be on the lateral aspect because the acetabulum is still visible. As well, you can see some gluteal lines, which the gluteal lines are going to help you distinguish some of the origin points for some of the gluteal muscles. So for instance, right here, there's a gluteal line, and right here, there's a gluteal line. Like I said before, these are going to help distinguish the gluteal muscles. Starting up here, more towards like the gluteal side or gluteal aspect of the ilium, there's an origin point for one of the gluteal muscles right here. And this is going to be the origin point for the gluteus maximus. So once again, like I said, there's going to be a gluteal line right here, and this is going to separate the gluteus maximus from the origin point of the gluteus medius, which is right here. So once again, we got another gluteal line, and this is going to separate the origin point from the gluteus medius from the origin point of the gluteus minimus, which is right here. Going off of that and moving more towards like the anterior iliac spine, there's going to be a muscle that originates right here. And the muscle that originates right here is going to be the tensor fasciae latae muscle. Going off of that and moving on towards the anterior superior iliac spine, there's a muscle that originates right here. And the muscle that originates on the anterior superior iliac spine is going to be the sartorius muscle. Moving down from that, we got the anterior inferior iliac spine, which is found right here. And then we got like the border of the acetabulum, kind of. There's going to be an origin, these are two origin points for a muscle that originates right here. And the muscle that originates right here is going to be the rectus femoris muscle, which, like I said, originates right here on the border of the acetabulum, as well as the posterior or anterior inferior iliac spine are the origin points for that. Moving again towards the ischium, we're going to cover the origin points for these again. So the origin point right here, this is going to be the origin point for the semimembranosus, and moving up again, this is going to be the origin point for the semitendinosus and the long head of the biceps femoris. Going up again towards the ilium, more importantly, this is going to be on the posterior inferior iliac crest. There's a muscle that originates right here, and the muscle that originates right here is going to be the piriformis muscle. Okay, moving on from that, we're going to flip the acetabulum around. We're going to be on the medial border of the acetabulum. Sorry, we're going to flip the os coxae bone around. So we're going to be on the anterior side of the os coxae or hip bone. And the reason you can tell that you're on the anterior side is that you can't see the acetabulum at all, as well as you can see the iliac fossa right here. So moving on to what muscles originate on this portion. Like I said before, this is the iliac fossa. So I know that the muscle that originates off the iliac fossa is going to be the iliacus muscle. Moving down from that, we got another origin point right here. And this is going to be where the pectineus muscle originates from. Moving down from that, we got two other origin points. So the origin point right here and another origin point right here. This muscle, I believe, that originates off here is going to be your adductor brevis muscle. And the muscle that originates right here is going to be your gracilis, I believe, is going to be the muscle that originates right there. So I believe that covers all the muscles that originate and insert off the os coxae and the femur. I hope I covered everything, and thanks for watching.